I could talk about Remi all day, but we got to bring her out here. She is one of the most talented people I've ever met in my life and one of the most exciting artists in the world right now. I think the New York Times have called her explosive. They've called her music colorful. They've said she has her own brand of pop music. Please welcome to the stage, Remi Wolf. Oh, yeah. Hi, Rem.
Oh, that was incredible.
You like that?
Yeah, I like
the New York
that a lot.
Times. Yeah. Remi, how you feeling?
I feel good.
Where you been?
I've been around the world and back, babe.
You really have. Remi, you're going way over 100 shows this year, aren't you?
I'm at like 127. I think,
127 shows in 1 year.
Right now. Yeah.
Jesus.
Hi, everybody. Hi.
Rem,
we got the
you
merch
are
going. Okay. Sorry.
You're born and raised California girl, right?
Yes.
Do we have anybody from California in the audience? Okay. You're from Palo Alto, right?
Yes.
NorCal. And then you went to school not far from here also. You went to USC?
Yes, right.
Okay.
Woo!
Any School of Music people from USC? Well, that was a way smaller.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thornton? Yeah, let's rock on
You're
that.
a Thornton graduate.
I graduated, yeah.
Amazing. Round of applause for graduating. Oh, yeah. So, you like that? Crowd work, babe. So,
Look at your hand like this.
It's like a rap. It's like
Yeah,
8
you're like-
Mile.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't. Am I supposed to do more like this vibe?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. I kind of like this though. All right.
Fully torqued up like
Okay,
this.
all right. Let me do this. Really, what I want to talk about today overall about Remi is just how different her music and her process and kind of her story is. But let's start at the start for people who don't know the basics, and let's just talk a little bit about when you started making music and kind of how. So from what I understand, you started at 13, 14 years old, starting to write or play songs. Is that right?
Yeah. Well, when I started to write when I was 14. Before that, I was kind of I was in actually a little girl group.
Okay.
We sang in harmony for about 3 years.
Original songs or other people's songs?
Definitely not original songs. It was like "Build Me Up, Buttercup" and like "Lollipop" and Celine Dion, like ballads.
Lollipop, Lil Wayne.
No.
Oh, okay.
Like I don't even know who does Lollipop, but it's like lollipop, lollipop. Oh,
And then
like the most different. You can
Where
probably
did you
get.
go from the girl group?
Then I went to writing my own songs in this little duo called Remi and Chloe. It's a very original name. It's just me and my friend Chloe. And we would like sit in her kitchen and eat apples and cheddar cheese and like write songs like at her kitchen table on acoustic guitars.
And when did that go from actually like the kitchen table to playing real shows and playing in front of people?
It was honestly pretty simultaneous because we were writing songs, but then we were also playing covers, and we were busking a lot, and we would go out and do like open mics, and we would go out into the street and like play with our guitar case.
For anybody
open.
who knows Palo Alto, where would you go? Like where would you like street corner are we talking about?
We're talking, well, we would go to Mountain View because there's really nowhere to do it in Palo Alto.
Okay.
The Bay Area is pretty dry of any sort of music culture at all, like especially in the South Bay.
Hot take.
Well, it used to be going.
Yeah.
Oakland's going.
That's
Like the
big
East
time.
Bay's going. The South Bay, which is where I grew up, it's not going. Let me tell you, it is not going. So it was a struggle.
Okay.
We would play at we'd play at like a cafe, and then we'd play at this place called Angelica's Bistro, and we would have to sell 50 tickets, and and everybody that bought a ticket would have to buy dinner too. So it ended up just being like my entire family.
Were you still playing covers, or were you and Chloe playing songs you guys wrote?
That's when we were playing songs that we wrote and covers.
A whole set of, or both?
Whole set of covers and originals. So it was like probably half originals, half covers.
And so by the end of high school, did you ditch Chloe? Were you in full bands with other people, or were you guys still doing your thing?
My main band was with Chloe, but I was also like guesting on other bands.
Backgrounds here and there,
Vocals, mainly vocals. And we
Got
made
it.
an EP actually in high school too.
But the thing that I think is so interesting and why I wanted to ask those questions is because you only started releasing Remi Wolf music a few years ago. When was your first release as Remi Wolf?
That was in 2019.
2019. Can you believe what she's done since 2019 to now? Unbelievable. Unbelievable. I think that's so interesting, and it's something I always tell people about you, that you had so many years of writing songs, but also playing songs and playing through classic songs and legendary songs of all types. So by the time you decided to release your first song, it wasn't the first song you had written or the first song you'd ever sang. You had been through almost 10 years of practice before you decided, this is going to be my first Remi song. What made you finally release your own music as Remi?
I think I just had to find the right collaborators. And for some reason at USC, there was a bunch of amazing musicians, but nothing really clicked collaboration-wise until my like final semester of school, and my friend Jared from back at home, who I grew up with playing music. He was playing in those bands that I was in high school. He like came through to my house on a tour, and he ended up staying with me for a week, and we wrote like 5 songs that week, and we were like, oh fuck, like we're like shit. we're like okay.
So Jared, you guys knew each other when you were younger, but you got really close in college because you guys were from the same place and went to USC together?
No. He went to Berkeley, and I went to USC. We hadn't seen each other in like 4 years.
But you were working in your college years?
No.
Oh, okay.
we literally had not seen each other for 4 years. He came through on tour, stayed in my house. He like called me and he was like, "Hey, I haven't seen you in like so long. Can I stay with you?" And I was like, "Sure." And we like set up a little what's the little red fucking interface called?
Focusrite.
We set up the Focusrite.
Oh, I hate those.
Yeah, we set it up, and we had this like $100 Dan Electro like little electric guitar that I had, and we made my song Sauce. You guys might know that one. We made my song Guy that week.
Wow.
And we made a bunch of other ones that are not released.
With basically no gear and nothing but like a couple $100 worth of just Guitar Center stuff.
All vibes.
Wow.
Like
wow.
Pure vibes.
Was this, what was it, I Love Dogs? Was that the first release?
What is it called?
The releases up till right now are...
Wait, is it You're a Dog? Yeah, You're a Dog.
You're a Dog, I'm Allergic to Dogs.
Juno. Yeah.
Which is your dog.
That's my dog.
That's your dog's name. Okay, got it. Was that was all songs on that first EP, correct?
That like first Jared re-meeting, yes.
And talk about Jared for a little bit more about your collaboration with him, because when I first met you, it was like you guys just came to everything together and kind of sussed out if other people could match your guys' vibe, because you were already seemed like you guys had made so much music. And when I met you, Photo ID was already out. Any Photo ID fans in the crowd? You already like had everybody talking about you, and I won't divulge any secrets, but really big artists asking you to write songs for them and all this stuff. And it seemed like you and Jared kind of knew, you guys were the only two people who knew where it was going. And when I met both of you, it seemed like everybody was trying to guess how to impress you guys, because you guys had already stumbled on this thing together. What is your working relationship with Jared like on all the music you guys made? How does it work?
Yeah. Well, you've seen it.
It's what did I used to call it? Manic.
No, chaos. Panic.
I used to call it like a fever or something, or like panic something.
Shredding.
Panic shredding.
Panic shredding.
That's what I used to go, because they would do this thing where like Jared would start playing guitar, and Remi would like start to sing, and then she'd be like, no, and then he'd be like, and he would just like start playing another thing, and she'd be like, maybe, and he'd be like, fuck, and he'd play a third thing, and she'd be like, that's the thing. But he was sweating, like he looked like he just ate Thai food. He was so panicked.
Yeah.
But that's
He's
how you guys.
So like hairy and sweaty too. Yeah.
But you guys seem to be able to pull it out so often, and I think everything I've heard you guys make is always exciting, even if it's not something you guys want to release.
Yeah, I mean, our working relationship is very, very like fast and explosive, because I think we're just when we come together, we're just really explosive people, I guess.
Yeah.
Which can sometimes go really poorly. And it can lead to like a lot of arguments and like we've like argued a lot. And it's kind of put like strained our relationship a little bit. But when it's good, it's like great.
Yeah.
But we're totally fine, by the way, him and I.
Well,
but like, like when you're so close with somebody, like in any capacity, a friendship, a relationship, a collaborator, it's like there's going to be friction. And I think that a lot of times that friction added to the music, which is, I don't know, maybe that's a hot take. But
I think we're going to talk about your songwriting process in a bit. But before we go there, I think something about how you write songs is the honesty. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I feel like that's a thing where even if you're in a room with somebody and it's going poorly, that's what you're going to talk about in the song. And I feel like all those moments with Jared and stuff that you can hear the friendship in it. But let's talk about that. Let's talk about Juno. Any fans of Juno? Does anybody know Remi's album Juno? Let's talk a little bit about Juno. How did you know this is my real debut album? These are the songs. How did you know you were starting it? How did you know it was finished?
Great question.
Yeah.
Well, I knew that I had to make an album because I didn't want to fucking make another EP.
Contractually also. Yeah, contractually.
Contractually, yeah. Contractually, I did. But I also, like, 3 EPs, come on, brother. Like, you got to move on. So, yeah, it was in the middle of COVID, and everything shut down. And I just was like, okay, I'm going to start writing. I mean, it's not that hard. I just started writing. I was like, God damn, I got to do it. So
how did you know you were done? Because I remember that process is I met you probably halfway through Juno or maybe the quarter of the way through it.
Yeah,
when we
maybe
first
about
met.
half, yeah.
And I worked on Front Tooth on that record, and we had made it like the second day I'd ever met you. And like a week later, you played me 5 more songs you made, and then a week after that, you were playing me mixes. Like it felt like it was moving so fast. How did you know it was time to wrap it and put it out and make that your first real debut?
I think that I just felt like the way that I wrote the album was I would have these explosive weeks of just like really intense creativity. And I like the first week of writing, the first song I wrote was Liquor Store. The next day I wrote Anthony Kiedis. The next day I wrote Grumpy Old Man and What You Doing.
Wow.
The same day.
Can we have a round of applause just for that? That's insane.
Yeah.
That is insane.
So it was like and we've gone through sessions and experienced kind of this like overflow of creativity, and it kind of just comes out, and I'm just like emptying my barrel.
She'll write 3 songs to a song, if that makes sense. So if there's an instrumental and there's a chorus part and a hook part, Remi will write 5 different parts that work on each, and you get to a point where you're like, we don't know which is the best. And there's 3 songs on a song, and it's literally that much creativity that she's talking about.
So yeah, we were just, thank you, and we were just like, and so it would be weeks like that. So I had like that week, and then I stopped writing for 2 weeks, and this is kind of my process is like I like to just dump, and then I like to fill it back up, and then I like to dump again. And I think I went to music school, and at music school they're always like, you got to practice every fucking day. I don't really believe in that much as a writer and a songwriter. I think as maybe an instrumentalist it's a different thing, but I think that sometimes you need to go just fill up the tank and experience life and like kind of just experience the feelings before you can write about them. Because if you're in the middle of something or like at the beginning of a feeling and you don't even know what the hell's going on, I've found that it's hard to write about that. Or if you haven't gone outside of your house, like, I'm sorry, but what are you going to talk about? Maybe some people can do that, but it's not really my thing. I like
it's true. If you're in the studio every day for months
you're
on
going to
end,
start writing about the color of the carpet, which could be
talk
cool. But
talk about the block too, Remi, because this is something that is kind of always a taboo to talk about when we're supposed to just be championing all the things you have released. I had you come by one day and you were just like, I hate all my ideas. I'm out of ideas, and the ones I come up with, I'm just not happy with. My mind is empty. What was the lyric? My mind is empty, but not in a good way.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's the thing. Okay. So, yeah, I went over to Kenny's house. I was, like, pissed about not being able to write something. And I said, my mind is empty, but not in a good way. The thing with writer's block, I don't really believe in it. I will have it very briefly, and then I think you either have to write through it and just accept the fact that maybe you're going to write a bad song. I think most writer's block is just being afraid of writing something bad.
Wow.
Which is a real thing. Like, fear is fucking real, and it's paralyzing.
Can we do a round of applause for that quote? Wow. I like that. I'm going to steal that.
Thanks.
Let's talk about something that I think is really, really important to bring up, which is your production and your abilities as a musician. Outside of...
You're so ADHD right now.
Come on, this is the next question. I have a whole little notepad. I have a thing. This is my next checklist thing.
Okay, let's go.
Let's talk about you as a producer and you as a musician, because I think it's something that just needs to be talked about in general. You know what I mean? More women producers, queer producers just need to be talked about. And I think when Bjork makes a record, when Lauryn Hill makes a record, when certain people make records and you see other producers' name, that's who they talk about a lot at the Grammys, this and that. And I know from being around you how much you produce and how much you will sit at a drum kit, or you will pick up a guitar, or you will say, no, like this, or like this is what I'm hearing. Did that come out of necessity, or did that come out of you are the only person who can really explain how you're hearing it in your head? Was it something that like you've always done, or did you have to start showing people?
I think I've always done it. Since like the beginning, really. I think I've always had a very, very specific taste. And I think it's taken me a couple years to be able to craft my vocabulary and the way that I go about expressing those ideas in specific rooms with specific people. And that's like, that takes practice, which I'm sure you can relate to too. Like sometimes it's like, you gotta be speaking the same language as somebody, and it can take time to like get that communication locked in. But I think all of my ideas are always pretty, they're there. And it's just about getting them out. And I think luckily I've been around a lot of people like Jared, who has respected everything that I like, just truly, truly respects my opinion and respects my musicianship, and people like you and people like Ethan Gruska and people like
Leon.
Yeah, people like Leon Michaels, who just like truly like really value my opinion, which I obviously love. That's great. Because what else are we fucking doing but you know what I'm saying? So
100%.
Yeah, so it's been nice, and I feel very free in that sense, and I think I also am like a bit bossy. Like
what if you're not bossy? Like you said, what are we doing here? You know what I mean? If it's like you're looking for someone to build your personality, those are never the greatest things I worked on. It's when someone comes in and it's like you're trying to fit into that dream. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I think, I love producing. Like the way that I think about music is like, I think of it really as a puzzle, and I love arranging. That's like really, I think I love doing that, because it's fitting these little.
Keep talking. This is so good for my segue. Keep talking.
Okay. Just making a song feel perfect is kind of always the dream, and I don't know. That's why I use so much. That's why I use so many harmonies. That's why I use so many vocal runs, because like my voice is really like my strongest instrument. I can play all the other shit too, but my voice, I just kind of use it as an instrument, and that's why I love stacking harmonies so much and filling all these little gaps with like,
extra stuff and ad-libs and other things that aren't even the main song, just filler pieces that are like instruments.
And that's the stuff that makes me really happy, and I like it. I just like it. I just like it.
I think that's one of the things that makes your music so genius is the arrangement and the structure. And that was one of like the biggest things I wanted to talk about. Is there any people who make music out there? Okay, good. Or anybody who maybe wants to make music or has thought about making music? There we go. I think the only difference between people who really, 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 really love music and people who make music is just doing it. You know what I mean? So for people out there, like one thing about Remi that's so inspiring for a new artist or someone who wants to become an artist is you don't follow rules in the sense of songs have hooks and choruses and pre-choruses and certain things. And the biggest song of your career thus far that's hit all the TikTok marks and the streaming marks and all this stuff is the weirdest song. You know what I mean? Like the vocal effects are all over the place. Like it's 4 minutes plus. There's a huge instrumental section. You can't really tell what the hook is. Mm-hmm. You don't know if which piece of a song like Photo ID is the piece that everybody's supposed to sing at the concert. You kind of have to sing the whole thing. And I think that's something that is really hard to know when you've got it right, when you're not following the script. So how do you know whenever an arrangement is ready or if it's too busy? Because more often than not, when I've been around you, the song has so many different sections besides a verse and a chorus. So how do you make that call?
I mean, a lot of my writing is very stream of consciousness, and I'll literally write through the song, like from point A to point B, like beginning to end. That's how it has been created, like that. And I'm not like bouncing back and forth between sections. And I mean, sometimes I'll go back and like, be like, oh, that like needs to repeat or whatever. But
you write the first word first and the last word last.
Pretty much, yeah.
And whereas some people will write the chorus or the hook or the theme, the name of the song basically, and then go back and fill in pieces that relate to that theme.
Yeah.
You start at word one and just go till the end.
Yeah. I mean, the way that I like to write is I like to either get a guitar or get a room with some musicians and just jam, and I'll sing some random melodies. Some words will come out, some lyrics will come out fully formed, some will come out as like complete gibberish, but they'll be like vowels or consonants or like sounds that I like, or like the way that I liked the way that my mouth was opening on that because it felt good to sing that like word. And then I'll pinpoint those and I'll be like, all right, I'm gonna just write this section based around like what I did. And normally I feel like my best ideas come out within the first 3 minutes of anything that I'm doing. Maybe even less, maybe like minute.
So you trust the instinct so much of like, this is the first thing I sang. Let me go take all the parts of this I love and make them real words.
It's pure instinct. Like, and I think I'm lucky because I trust my instincts. And I've learned to trust them. And when I don't, I find myself getting in trouble. So I either lose interest or like start spiraling out about something. So I just try to trust my instincts as much as possible. And I think it makes the music, like you were saying before, I really do write from this place of like pure honesty and just like really trying to tell my story and how I'm feeling on that day or on that week. And yeah, I'm just writing from that place. And I think a lot of times sometimes I think I trust my body and how it feels more than I trust my mind. And the meaning can come later. Like I will write and trust that is what I meant that day and not know what the hell I meant by it. But like maybe a month later, it'll like click.
That's trust. Round of applause for that because I wish I had that sometimes. Let's talk about that honesty because a thing about your music that I think draws so many people to it, including me, is the hyper specificity of certain things. You know what I mean? Like you have songs called Anthony Kiedis about a specific person, or you'll talk about like Cheeto from the Cheetos logo, Chester from the Cheetos logo in the middle of a hook. Like you'll talk about like Conor McGregor, very specific people or iconic things in pop culture, whatever, but they're always kind of this time. And someone I've been lucky to be around who've given me a lot of advice is Rick Rubin, and he said to me one time that lyrics that really stick with people are things that only kind of make sense right now. Whereas if you talk about time and you are the air I breathe and these things that could have been saying 30 years ago or in 30 years, they don't stick with people like a line about an Uber or a line about Postmates or something where it's like, you know what I mean? Only people today understand kind of what that lyric means. Your lyrics are so specific. How did you start working in what's happening this second or that day rather than kind of writing a song from the perspective of this is what should go in a song and this is, you know what I mean? Like I feel like so many people sit down and they go by the Max Martin rules or the charts right now or their influences all at once, where you'll literally talk about like, I'm eating Cheetos, I'm wearing a cowboy hat, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But you'll make it this beautiful thing that everyone can relate to.
Yeah. Honestly, it's like I said before, I'm literally pulling from my life. Like I'm literally talking about my life. So like, there's this song that I made with Kenny. It's called Front Tooth. And in the chorus, I say, what is it? This feels like a Conor McGregor fight, kicking out my front tooth. And I think, pretty sure, that week I had been locked out of my house because I forgot my key somewhere. And I had a neighbor in the back. There's like a house in my backyard. And I knocked on my neighbor's door and I was like, hey, anyway, you have a key to my house? He was like, no, but like you can wait here while like your friends get here to like push you through the window or whatever. And I was like, okay, cool. And I went inside his like tiny office and I just sat there with him. We talked about video games and we were watching the Conor McGregor fight. And like I was in there for like an hour and a half. And then I ended up going back into my house eventually. And then I think 2 days later I came to your house and I started writing this song about my life. I mean, pretty much that song was about how all this shit in my career was going amazing, and I still felt like shit. I'm so sorry to swear in front of you. I have a brutal potty mouth, so I apologize. But yeah, I mean, that song was pretty much about that, and I had just been watching the McGregor fight, and I was like, oh, it kind of feels like I'm getting punched in the face. And I was like, oh, Conor McGregor, fire. And you know, it's like I'm just collaging life. I don't know.
It's the number one thing I admire about you. Whenever I'm working on a song with any artist now, or I'm working on music, period, I think about how do I be more honest, you know? And it's something that in music you're working on now, the first music I ever heard from you, it's just such a clear line through everything that you're really being yourself. And I think that's why so many people attach to your music in a different kind of way, or the fact that you have songs that are still being talked about as much today as they were when they came out. So round of applause for just being yourself.
Thank you.
I just do the applause every once in a while because it just feels good,
Yeah,
you know?
you're going. Yeah, it feels fun. I like that.
One last question about songwriting, and then we can kind of move on. Working with a band is something that you mentioned. And for people who make music out here, I'm sure you know that it's very rare in 2022 to get into a room with a bass player, a drummer, a guitar player, a piano player, and a vocalist and write a song from scratch. Even think about the bands you can think about today in popular commercial music. You can think about Tame Impala, 1975, Imagine Dragons. It starts getting difficult after that. Like it's not a common thing for an artist to walk into a room with all these people and start a song from scratch, but that's your most comfortable way of making music, I've found.
Yeah.
How do you orchestrate a room full of people to kind of fit into the music you're trying to make while also figuring out what you want to say all at once? Isn't that more difficult? Why do you find so much comfort in a room full of musicians than you do kind of just starting that song one instrument at a time? Because that's very unique.
That's also a good question.
Yes.
We love each other, by the way.
I'm such a big fan. You can tell I'm a big fan.
We hang out a lot.
Do you want to talk about tattoos yet or later?
We'll talk about it later.
Okay, go ahead. Band, jamming, band.
Yeah, jamming. Okay, I mean, I grew up, when I was in all those bands, when I was growing up in high school, it was all jam-based. So we would be in Jared's basement, literally, and be down there for 4 hours and just be jamming and writing songs that way. No DAW, no computers, just completely analog, like recording into it. At that time, I don't even think we had voice memos. It was like a little recording device. Because we were like 15-year-old idiots, no idea what we were doing. And there wasn't like YouTube.
Yeah.
And Twitch,
you guys are so
like
lucky
there is now.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah. But I mean, there was YouTube, but it wasn't the same.
It's not like YouTube University like it is now. You
It's
can
not
learn
like Twitch University, King.
You can learn anything on YouTube or Twitch now. Unfortunately for all the money we both paid for college.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. But thank you, USC. I love you. Right on. But what was the question? Oh, jamming.
I really why I'm asking is because there's certain songs of yours that feel like a performance. Like Liz feels like a performance
That was
even
a performance.
on the record. Yeah, and
that was a one taker, which I
song.
love. The vocal was, but
Wow.
the drums, I'm pretty sure one taker. The guitar is one taker. I'm pretty sure it's all one separately, but we jammed it for like 3 hours before we laid down all those parts. And the only reason we did that was because we didn't have enough separation in the room to get the
But that's so unique for a song to be one recording of someone singing it the whole way through. That means the hooks are going to be a little different. That means there's going to be imperfections, and
And I like that. I think I gravitate towards music that feels really raw like that. I think I like that raw feeling. Like I love Janis Joplin, and she is pure. Just she's like sandpaper, like the rawest you can get. Like, and I also think that the reason that I got into music was one of the main reasons is because of the human connection element. Like it's how I made all of my friends when I was younger. And that, like getting to know people in that setting and bringing together, I just love bringing people together. And like I just love being in rooms with other musicians and being able to talk about music and like share music. And I think that's part of why I love it too, because it's just I get to meet all these amazing people and share myself with them and have them share themselves with me. And it's just like it feels much more personal and rooted in like the human experience, I think, than maybe sitting in a room with a laptop feels to me.
Well, round of applause for sharing. No, it's beautiful though. It really is. Because you have like this kind of conductor nature in a room where I've seen, and you and I have been lucky enough to work with on musicians that work on Adele and Lana and Amy Winehouse and this and that, and you kind of have this sense of kind of commanding the room, where you're going with the music, and then also what you want a lyric in a song to be. And I think that is one of your greatest talents. But one more last thing. I think.
Are you guys bored?
No.
No. Okay. Okay. Good.
I want to ask you a tough question that is probably my most boring question, but I think your answer will be worth it.
Oh shit. Okay.
Remi, you've been making music since 2019 as Remi Wolf, releasing music, and you've had songs blow up on TikTok. You've performed on late night shows. You've had major reviews, and all these huge things happen. People don't even know certain things I know about who wishes they could steal certain Remi Wolf songs. You would never believe it. But you've done all this stuff your way, and I want to know just what your advice would be to the people who are just starting out or artists who are already on their way. What is your advice to people who make music or want to make music?
Yes. That is a yeah.
It's my worst one. It's my worst one, but
Yeah, it's I mean, yeah, I guess there's a lot of things. I mean, I can't just say like be yourself cuz that's I don't know. Like that is true, but it's also
how do you be yourself if 100,000 songs a day get uploaded to Spotify and everybody's trying to be themselves the most? You know what I mean? Like, how
Yeah.
do you cut through the noise is the hard question that everybody always gets asked.
I think it is all about authenticity. But to cultivate authenticity, I think, is a really hard thing to do. And the way that I've found that you can do it is by finding people who accept you and like accept your whole being and accept your whole self, and like you really feel you can't do this, you can't do any of this alone. Like it takes I have 50 people around me at all times, you know, helping me get on this stage and be here in front of you guys.
And it started with 50 friends.
And it started with 50 friends, and I've kept those friends around. So I think building a community around yourself and putting yourself out there and like letting yourself be seen for who you really are and sticking by those people, I think is such an amazing foundation. And like, because it's so hard. I mean, it really is. It's hard to do this.
I think that's the best advice. I think building a team is how you win. You know
building
what I mean?
a team that you really love and that you know loves you, and yeah, just getting that going, and then also like really try to write good music. Like focus on that. Because
round of applause.
Yeah. Like,
It's true. Your TikTok strategy and all that don't matter if there's not a good song behind it, you know?
yeah, I mean, yeah, exactly. I mean, TikTok's that's a whole other conversation. But that's a crazy one. But yeah, I think working on music, I mean, I've written so many songs, guys. And there's only 26 online. I've probably written over 1,000, probably more than that, songs in my life. So just like hammering that down and like really getting a grasp on what you like and what you don't and what your taste is, so that when you walk into a room with a bunch of people who don't know you, who are telling you, oh, I like this, oh, I like this, oh, I like this, ooh, how about this? It's like you know what your compass is. Because if you don't know what your compass is, you're going to get fucking bulldozed over by everyone. So doing that work prior and just like knowing what sits right within your soul and within your musicality, I think that's also really important, along with the friendship and like the community aspect of everything. That's like, those are the two sides.
I love that,
coin.
Remi. Round of applause for that.
Thank you.
All right, I think it's time to open it up a little bit. No, is it time for
let's do
a
it.
couple questions? Does anybody have any questions for the great Remi Wolf? Anybody? Oh, let's start.
What did you say? You want to take a photo?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, you can get up here.
Dad, are you gonna take it? Okay, cool.
Hey, what's your name? What is it?
Alessa.
Alessa. Nice to meet you. This is Kenny. Okay.
Hey, amazing.
You're very awesome.
Best question of the night, easily. Any other questions for Remi, real quick? In the back, right there. Sure, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, Lord. Yeah, I did this Lord tour back in April and May. It was really amazing. Mainly because she's a very, very powerful artist, just in the sense of like that compass that I was talking about. She like laser. And you can feel that through everything that she does, through the way that her team operates, through the way that her like stage manager, backstage, everything, through her stage production, everything is so laser focused, which I really admire about her. But I love that tour because I just got to sit there and watch and observe and learn, because I'd never been on such a major tour like that, and it's so different than all like, not that I was doing small tours before, but it's a very different experience, and I was just appreciative of the fact that I could just watch all this happen and kind of just like apply that to my own tour. Like she had this whole stage production, and then on this past tour that I just went on, I don't know if any of you were there, but like I built this tree with these flowers, and I like did the thing finally, and I was like, okay, and that was like that was all Lord inspired. So I really, yeah, she's a great artist, and that was a great tour. I love her. Yeah.
Round of applause. Good question. There's a show after this, by the way. If you want to get that signed, you got to make it through the show. Any other questions? Next up, anybody? In the red.
Hi. Thank you. Yeah. Yeah. I think I definitely do use it. I do talk about it a lot. I think making music kind of always makes me feel better about things. So if I'm in that place that kind of sucks and is sad and you don't want to get out of bed or whatever, luckily I've actually never really experienced the I don't want to get out of bed vibe. I have like debilitating anxiety, which is like I have to get out of bed too fast and like run around like a fucking crazy person. Like that's what that does to me, and then I can't like focus on anything, and I like try to ruin all my relationships and stuff. So like that's my problem. But I think weirdly making music always calms me down, or it just gets me really fucking excited a lot of the time, and I'll do like a 5-day, I'll go into, like we had this like amazing writing session in New York like a couple months ago, and I don't know how I was feeling beforehand, but I don't think it was very good. And then I went in, and after like 5 days of just being completely surrounded by music, I was like, oh shit, like that's the shit, like that's the medicine. And so, yeah, I think I like medicate with music a lot of the time, and medicate with creation and with people. I don't know if that's helpful at all. I'm sorry.
I think part of what Remi said earlier about trusting that muscle, that instinct muscle, I think is something I've noticed with her just as on looking, that when she tells me I'm not there right now, I'm not feeling that place, she'll make a joke or say something that sounds super sad, or like what she just said, like, oh, I want to ruin all my relationships, whatever. And then she'll put a melody to that sentence. And you're like, that just turned into a lyric. And it's the worst thought I've had this week, but now it's Remi's best lyric of the month. And like, I think that's something I've noticed with you, Rem, is like, even in that moment, you still trust in the music's going to bring you out of it. You know what I mean?
I think I also I really rely on humor a lot. And I put the humor, like I'll make jokes about what I just said. Like literally will try to ruin my relationships. That's true. And that's like something I'm working on. But that's fucking funny.
Round of applause.
Yeah. And then I can talk about that in my shit, in my songs. And like I do. And you guys hear that, I'm sure. Like I'm just cracking jokes about how stupid I am, like a lot of the time.
Today someone said something, and I was in a session today, and someone said something as a lyric, and it was like a joke lyric, and I was like, all right, let's get back on track. And somebody corrected me and said, that's how the best stuff gets written. It's like saying that thing. You're like, that I can't say that. You know what I mean? That's some of the best lyrics of all time. You know what I mean? And my experience is like, oh no, we shouldn't. What if we use that? You know, so trust yourself.
Yeah, like the fucking. Sorry, I'm so sorry. With the swearing,
You said sorry, and then it got way worse after that.
But my song "Quiet on Set," it's like the most ridiculous, crazy song ever. I'm like saying crazy stuff.
Quiet on set.
Like orgy at Five Guys with Five Guys, like insane.
I mean, there's a human centipede lyric in the first verse.
Human centipede.
Yeah.
Should I Postmate Chuck E. Cheese? Like literally, my friend Ely, who I made that song with, we were trying to get lunch. He goes on Postmates. He's like, hey guys, should I Postmate Chuck E. Cheese? Because Chuck E. Cheese was on Postmates. And I was like, holy hell, we need to put that in the song right now. And then that's how that happened. And that lyric goes hard at the show.
It does.
It goes hard.
I think it's because it's weird.
It's so weird. But it's true. It's what happened.
Let's do one or two more over here in the black. Yeah.
Hi. You're amazing. Thank you.
I'm also a musician, and I wanted to ask you, what I struggle with the most is getting pulled off to different directions, like to the need to make money and like think of my future financially and invest and buy properties and be a good, like, you know, in a relationship and be good to my husband, be a good family member, a good daughter, all that. Like, how do you put it in your calendar to sit down and write a song? Like, how do you put the time aside for this to make sure that it's getting done when you just started?
When I just started, yeah.
And after 120 shows in a year.
Yeah. I mean, I think I'm a bit of a workaholic, unfortunately. But at the beginning, I think I was just so driven. Like, I just had such a crazy drive, and all I really knew how to do was to make music. And I was waitressing. And I was constantly getting fired from jobs, which is how I knew that I could not do that forever. Because it was like every 3 months I'd get canned, and I was like, okay, back to square one. And I just had to make music because that's like literally the only thing I knew how to do. But I would go to work, come back from work, and I would make music. And I would go to sleep, and then I would make music for like 3 hours before work, and then I would go to work again. And difficult question, because I was like 23, no husband. Yeah, like I was like 22, 23, no husband. And I was like a little fucker too. So I was like a rat.
Remi.
Like I was. What?
Oh, she's on the iPad. It's fine.
I know, she's killing the iPad now. But, she's looking at her picture. That's cute. But, yeah. Good daughter. My parents are somewhere in here. Where are they? They're back there.
I don't know. Mom and Dad were here.
They're here.
Why weren't they backstage? You made them wait in the general population. They couldn't come backstage.
Well, they were there, and then
Dad, Mom, I got you.
Have I been a good daughter throughout the process? What do you think? Decent?
They gave one of these.
I think I'm a little unresponsive at times, and they know that, and I know that, and that sucks for us. But when we get together, it's very nice.
And that's the answer to that question.
Yeah, let's go.
Last one. Let's do one last question. Right here in the mask.
Oh, thank you. Hi, Jerry.
Hi.
I really am a big fan of both of you guys. And so,
Again.
I want to.
Sorry.
So recently, I was watching the Joey Diaz episode of Hot Ones. And
Where's this going, pal?
Yeah. Who's
so,
Okay.
they asked him this question about like who his influences were like comedy-wise, but he mentioned like comedians, musicians, writers, actors, etc.
You're going somewhere good,
So
actually.
I was kind of wondering, like, because your music feels like multidisciplinary, like it's not, it's kind of
You're killing it. Keep
No,
going.
you're
This
fire.
is interdisciplinary. This is unreal. Keep
Yeah,
going.
that was good word.
But I guess I was kind of wondering, like, who are your musical influences, but also outside of music, like, who do you gain inspiration from, and like,
Yeah.
where do you think, like, for the people who want to be musicians in the crowd, also like, where should we look for influence and that kind of thing?
Very
Good
cool
question.
question. I love that. See, Kenny, this is bringing us right to where I wanted to be.
Oh yeah.
Because
You can come sit.
yeah, you want to get up here? Well, so I'm incredibly inspired by food
Me too.
and chefs, and I love going out to eat, and I love seeing creativity in food, and I love tradition in food, and I love seeing the blend of tradition and like modern shit, whatever the hell.
Fusion.
I love fusion. Well, I think I just love artistry in that sense because I mean food's delicious and we need it to survive, so that's good. And
Does it make you want to make music though? Like when you get back in the studio, like does a meal like that make you be like, oh, I'm ready now?
yeah,
I think it does. I've seen you be like hungry and be mean.
yeah. Oh, I'm hangry as hell.
Yeah, but then it's after lunch. It's like we're shredding.
Well, I just went to this restaurant in one of my favorite chefs who you've worked with, literally, is Matty Matheson. And I just went to his restaurant in Toronto, and it's Prime Seafood Palace, and it was an amazing meal. And it's so creative, but also so traditional, and I just love that. And also, I think also both of us are inspired by visual art and specifically tattooing. Kenny's fully loaded.
But you can't tell right now though. Look, I could go to a wedding. You can never even tell.
And I'm getting there, but I think there's just this obsession. I really like other art forms. I love painting too, and I paint and I draw, but I love other art forms that are so strongly rooted in some sort of tradition. And then you can like see the growth of, and like with tattooing especially, I think it's really cool because we both go to this place called Smith Street in New York. And they're so traditional. It's like that's what the whole ethos of that place is like. We want to give you the best tattoos, the tattoos that have been around for like the longest time that like all these guys in the Navy were getting. And like all these military guys were getting. But then like you'll see one of the artists like spin it on its head a little bit, and then like you get like this fucking
Oh, here we go.
and then you get like this butterfly that has like eye in this whole shit, and like then you get, this is from a different shop, but this is like kind of traditional based, but it's like this weird little girl who's based on traditional tattooing.
That's
but
a good example because it's a whole new thing.
it's a whole new thing, and I'm inspired by being able to see that growth visually. Music is the same. Like it's so rooted. I mean, at least American music is so rooted in like jazz and blues, and then you're able to trace it to like rock and R&B, and it's just gone in so many crazy directions. And I love seeing that.
Where would you tell people to search for inspiration who do make music outside of music? If you were going to tell someone something to watch or something to go to or something to read.
The Rehearsal, Nathan Fielder.
We both really love.
Sorry, that's not the answer you wanted.
No, but we I think you and I both like cry over Devil and Daniel Johnston.
We love Daniel Johnston in this family. Yes.
If you guys have never seen that documentary, very inspiring about artist / songwriter. Very, very inspiring.
Yeah, he's really cool. He unfortunately had a lot of mental illness, but it's such an extreme case of like art was what like let him survive in this world for as long as he did. And his also such a good example of pure and utter honesty in his songwriting. He literally would record all of his albums straight onto like a 1-track cassette, like maybe a 4-track, but not
No,
even like
barely,
1-track
yeah.
cassette. It all sounds like shit, but it's the best songwriting you'll ever hear.
And he was in like the depths of
Yeah.
bipolar and manic depression and so many other things. And he wrote some of the most unbelievable songs and drew some of those unbelievable stuff. And both of us love him.
Love him.
I could watch that anytime and make a million songs.
Yeah. This is a bunch of music that's unreleased, but I watched that and then wrote like 2 songs and at 3 a.m. in the morning and then went to Kenny the next day, and like they're probably some of my best songs. You guys haven't heard them, but it's okay. Maybe you will one day. But yeah, we love him. Also multidisciplinary. Was an amazing musician and songwriter, but was incredible visual artist and would like paint and draw all the time. Has thousands of doodles. And just amazing stuff. He's very cool.
Great question. Thank you for that question. Thank you, everybody, for your questions. Yeah, I jumped at the chance to be here tonight. Remi, I've told you this a million times to your face. I'm not buttering you up because there's people here. But the day I met Remi, I said so much stuff to her that she probably was like, what is wrong with this guy? Why is he lying to me? But I met her for half a day, and you can ask anybody I work with, anyone who's ever talked to me about it, whatever. I just think you're so important, Rem. Like, I think the way you look at music and the way you approach songwriting, I've been so fortunate to work with my idols and people I couldn't believe would let me in the studio, and being around you is truly feels like some of the most amazing things I've ever witnessed in my life when it comes to music. And I really, really mean that. And I think that anybody who's in this room right now is going to say in a couple of years, like, I was in a room with 200 people with Remi Wolf, and I couldn't believe I was that close to her. I really mean that. And the last thing I'll say is we went to New York City recently, and Remi was working on some songs with this group of guys that go by L. Michaels Affair. But they're an unbelievable group of musicians, and they worked on 19 for Adele. They worked on Ultraviolence for Lana Del Rey. They worked on Back to Black for Amy Winehouse. And they're just incredible. And they were working with Remi for a few days. And Remi had only been just kind of singing in the room with everybody and kind of like writing songs together. And on the last day, she wrote a song in about 2 hours and sang harmonies for the first time that week, which means she sang the song and then she sang backgrounds behind herself. And these 3 guys who have worked on everything I could have ever dreamed of working on as a producer almost simultaneously just said, fuck. I hate to swear. I didn't mean this. But seeing my ideas about you affirmed by people I look up to and just seeing where you're going as an artist, it's one of the most exciting things in the world. And I just can't wait to see what's next, Rem. I love you.
Thank you. I love you.
Thank you guys so much for tonight. Thank you for being here. GRAMMY Museum, thank you guys. My name is Kenny Beats. This is Remi Wolf. Stick around for the concert. There is a concert right now. Remi's about to perform. Woo-hoo! Quiet on set. Okay, thank you guys. Good night.